back, everybody, to Fresh Friday.
Stream number 3.
Yes.
Going through.
Already at 3. That's great.
I know. I can't believe it's already 1 o'clock. It's like flying by.
Yeah.
Hopefully you guys have been with us all day so far today. Fresh Friday. We're going all the way through till 7 p.m. today with all kinds of great stuff. Freshwater education, giveaways. Got a lot going on today.
Yeah, if you guys haven't already, make sure you smash that like button, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell. Helps us out tremendously. For more information on all the sales, head over to waterboxaquariums.com or your respective website. We also have European website, United Kingdom, and Canada, so definitely check that out.
All right, so this stream, just like the other ones, we're giving away 2 $500 gift cards. So the giveaway is open on waterboxaquariums.com, or the link is in the description. And you need to have your entry in the first 30 minutes because it closes. And then we also will be dropping a bonus word randomly throughout the stream that you can enter into that giveaway for more entries. So
Keenan,
don't slack, get on it.
How many entries do they get for the bonus word?
10.
So you get 10 additional entries. That's well worth it. So keep an eye out for that bonus word.
Yep. So it's gonna just pops up on the screen randomly, and then at 7 p.m. is we have our grand prize giveaways, and that's 3 $1,000 gift cards. You can enter that up until 7 p.m. Eastern time tonight on the website as well.
Yep.
I think that wraps up most. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So this is our fresh event of the year. All we're covering is freshwater, and we're really, really excited for this because we have James Plemmons here with us from James Nature Aquatics. Come on up. Woo!
Welcome, James.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining us.
Here.
And he's actually been doing a live scaping today. You don't want to miss this. Stay tuned for it. You're going to be scaping a Clear 3620.
Right.
We're running a Sicce EKO 300 on it, some AI Prime lights.
Right.
Got some rock and everything ready for you.
Little rock,
you're going to
little
show
wood.
these guys how to do it?
I'm going to try.
I think you know what you're doing.
Yes. We're excited to see what you come up with. I know you've been planning this, so let's go on out to the aquarium.
All right, sounds
All right.
You good to go?
All right. Tell us a little bit about what you've got here.
So first, this is Jada. This is my daughter. She's going to be helping me with plant preps and everything. So Tropica helped us out on this one a whole lot. It's nice to have Tropica North America. In this instance, Tropica originated in Denmark. They have a place in Vancouver. They do all their plants and everything there. They sent us these to create a nice, wonderful tank. Have some driftwood to go in, some Sirius stone. We're going to do some soil and some sand. See what we can do with this tank.
What's the theme you're going with? What kind of aquarium?
Just a nature aquarium on this one. It's my favorite style. It's a little easier to maintain. It's easier for the average person to be able to set that up and maintain it easily. So
Perfect.
yeah.
All right.
Most of these are easy plants and stuff. There's a couple in there. It's a little more tricky, but most of these will do fine without CO2 injection or anything like that. So
Perfect.
yeah.
All right. Tell them the ways.
Tell them the way. So
do
first
it.
thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna start adding some soil in. We're gonna try to get it set up to where we have a little, we can create some depth in the tank. What I like to do with it is we build it up in the back first. And by building height in the back of the tank, you create, it's almost like a palette to paint. So when you're looking at it, because if you have it low in the back, you won't see those plants as well as having it raised up. So let's start with a couple of bags of soil. Even it out there.
What kind of soil is that, James?
This is Mr. Aqua soil here. It's actually a really good soil. It has it's like a lava-based soil, has nutrients in it and everything, so it'll provide all the nutrients for the plants you need and all. Oh, come on, it's stuck on my fingers. There we go. But yeah, I like to start in the back because it builds it up, and then also we'll have a base layer to kind of lay our driftwood on and such to where it doesn't move around while we're trying to see how we want to lay it out. I'm leaving the...
Hey, Rich,
Yes?
can you do me a favor? Can you tell Nick to switch to the studio real quick? I need to switch something here for a second.
He wants you to switch to studio.
You can keep going.
Okay, okay.
Dude, get over here. Taking a quick break. I think Keenan is fixing something technical with the camera.
Like this, Jada. What do you think?
So we're gonna hang out in here
Big piece.
until he's ready, I guess.
Sure.
I know we're missing the scaping here.
Sorry, just
Technical difficulties. We're just trying to get.
push the map. There you go. Okay, we're back.
All right, we're good. Bye.
So this is how you do a scoop.
Okay.
And so I like to take the wood and look at it from all angles. Like this angle is much more plain than this side. Has more interest here. So we'll put it forward. There's a few things I like to do with it. I can either arrange all the wood where it's facing one direction and have like a flow, or I can counteract those two and have tension. And it's just like with anything that's artistic, it's an art form, so we try to go with that. See how that looks. That's pretty good there. Yeah.
Did I miss it? What kind of wood is that?
I'm not even sure, to be honest. It's
Okay.
a driftwood. It's it's a lot like the local wood here
It's
in
very cool
Florida.
looking.
So
Yeah,
yeah,
it's really nice. I was just gonna say, like, where do you source something like that?
local store.
Yeah,
That's where I
just
got this.
shopping around
Yeah.
the stores, find one that looks like what you're looking for.
Yeah, there's places you can go online and get stuff that comes from Japan and so on. It's like
Yeah.
some of the really rare things. They get really pricey though, some of those do. Like that. Let's see how that looks.
Do you use any rules of spacing or
I
just
used
what
to.
you like the look of?
I used to, and it still applies to somewhat, because like in this, you don't want to center anything. Like I have the middle here too centered right now, so I'll probably readjust it to set it off to one side. So you do have the rule of thirds and the golden ratio that you can apply. If I do one of the two, I like the golden ratio better because the rule of thirds have set points that you have to, and you can apply the golden ratio multiple times within a tank. But the friend Jeff Miyake told me once that rules limit you in how you can scape. So
Use them if you want, but you also
yeah,
use.
it's a great way to start learning as far as that goes. But I don't like to limit myself in that sense just by saying we're just going to say rule of thirds or the golden ratio. So the golden ratio is designed in art to where it swoops around and comes to a focus point to pull the eye to that point. So.
That piece on the right is so cool looking on its own.
Yeah, I like that one a lot. I think we'll bring this over just a little. And with these, when you have pieces like this that's cut on the back, we usually try to hide those because it looks unnatural. So we're going to try to make it look as natural as we can with that. And with this one, it being in the back like that, it'll be easy to hide it with plants. But in this case, I think I'm gonna, that's good right there. But after I get kind of a layout here that I like, then I'll start laying some stone in kind of, and then we'll glue some of it. So I like to glue it, you don't have to, but when it comes to maintenance and all that, you glue it and it stays. So the worst thing in the world is to have a tank that's nicely developed and grown in, and you go to clean it and you knock a piece of driftwood over and all your plants float up.
That would
Getting
be-
it back to
that would
normal
be no
never
good.
happens.
Yeah, it'll never happen.
Someone's asking what tank this is, guys. This is a clear 3620.
Let's see. This piece in here. I think we'll go with that. We'll start putting some stone in now. We'll see how that goes. And it's the same with the stone. I like to take the stone and you can look at it. It's nice and flat on this side. It's not very interesting, but you turn it over and you have all this texture. And a friend named George Farmer that taught me, he's like, take it and look at every single side before you place it. So you'll find what you like and what you don't like.
And this is the Caribsea Exotica Mountain Stone.
Mountain stone.
For anyone
Also,
asking.
Siryu is another word for it. There's a lot of names for it, but I think in Europe they actually call it mini landscaping stone.
Okay.
Yeah. You'll hear that a lot if you watch some of the European scapers.
This is of course because it's on a stream abbreviated as far as like kind of doing your scaping and stuff. I'm sure one more time there's like 500 little micro changes that you're doing.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what I was actually saying earlier. When I do a competition tank, I can spend weeks and weeks just on the hardscape alone, trying to figure out how I want to set it up. Trying to outthink the competitors of what they might do that I could do a little to get a little more interest in my tank. And we'll put some more soil into and some sand, but I like to move the soil up towards the rocks because it looks like it's actually in the ground as opposed to sitting on the ground, on the soil.
Right.
Keep the
that makes sense.
natural.
Yes, yes. The more natural, the better. The only real problem with this stone is it will alter your water chemistry. It'll harden the water. So usually when I set up a tank for long term, I'll set it up with RO water and I can control what the pH and stuff is a little better. But also the soil will buffer the water some and give you, it'll soften it somewhat.
They kind of counteract each other a little bit.
Yeah, a little bit. I mean, especially when you first set this up, first fill it, you'll notice it right off that the water hardness will spike from there's a lot of calcium in this stone. That's where the age-old thing of the like vinegar test on stone and stuff I don't like, because it doesn't mean you can't use it in a tank. It just tells you that it will harden your water.
As long as you know what you're dealing with and are expecting it. So what do you look for in pieces of stone?
I look for texture and then how they flow together, because I usually try to keep the lines. That's what they call the strata in the stone, and keep them kind of on a flow to where it looks like it's actually, you know, it's been there for a while, and you have this natural rock formation. And sometimes it gets a little off as far as that goes, but you're basically, if you're doing a nature aquarium, you want it to look like there's a stone sitting there, it's been there, there's a tree, it's fallen in the water, and it's been laying there for a very long time. So try to get that matching of the stone there.
So Nature Way, kind of like a river type of look.
Right, yeah, exactly. One of my favorite places to copy here is like to go to the springs around here and look underwater, because a lot of these plants we're using today grow in the springs around here in Florida.
It's a great idea. I like
Yeah.
that.
A lot of guys travel from all over the world to come see our springs that are aquascapers.
Inspiration right here.
Right.
Yeah.
It's hard to find water that clear, and you actually have tropical plants growing.
Yeah, a lot of fallen trees and logs.
Right.
Replicate nature.
I actually did my competition tank a couple of years ago based off of a photo I saw of one of the springs somewhere. I can't remember which spring it was now, but it was up north, up near Tallahassee. That was nice. I like this one. Here it is. Trying to put it back here.
So ratio of rock size to the wood and stuff probably comes into play as well.
It does somewhat. The biggest thing, if like in nature aquariums, it's easier to apply depth the way you want it. If I'm going for a really, like trying to really sell depth in the tank, I will place smaller rocks towards the front and the larger rocks towards the back. I mean, vice versa, the larger rocks in the front, smaller rocks towards the back, which will pull them higher. And the same with planting, you know, smaller leaf plants in the back and larger leaves in the front. So it looks like it's traveling away from you. so much. I think we'll go with that. But a lot of aquascaping, you can learn the rules and follow the rules, but the biggest thing is just to do it and keep doing it to learn how.
Yeah.
You know, it's one of those things in practice, you have to do it. Because I used to, for the longest time, I kept it was actually one of the Clear Mini 16s I had. First tank I really started getting serious about scaping and rescape it every few months.
Yeah.
Just to keep,
Just to keep practicing and trying new things.
Right. And then with that, some of the best advice I ever got, to learn how to aquascape, really the thing you need to learn how to do is to successfully grow plants. Because if you can't grow plants well, you're probably not going to do as well aquascaping. You get a good hardscape, but it won't be very pretty as far as the plant layouts and stuff go. Yeah, it's like that stone fits a lot better there, so.
If you guys watching us live have any questions for James, post them below. I'll do my best to ask them.
I want to mention again because people are asking, so bonus word gets randomly popped up onto the screen. You have until the 30-minute mark to enter into the giveaway for the gift cards that are done on this stream.
Yep, so you got 13 minutes. And the link for that giveaway is in the description, right?
Yeah, link for the giveaway in the description and also at waterboxaquariums.com. You can do 1 entry for regular and bonus word is worth 10 extra entries. And each stream has its own giveaway, so it's not for like all combined. It is for each stream.
Let's see. Yeah, in a naturescape, usually I'll do it a little more reverse, and that's what a lot of people do. You'll plant your smaller plants in the front and keep going up in size.
Okay.
Yeah, and with this, like I have this here, to give you some depth, you usually kind of want to choose an end point where you don't have plants, where you can see all the way through the tank to have your depth. And so with this here, it's kind of offset, but probably plant it to where there's an end point here, and you can see straight through. Even when the plants grow in and develop, keep it trimmed back to where this portion's still open.
And that gives you that depth perception.
Right, really gives you a good sense of depth. That'll work.
Island Reef is asking, what's the #1 rule or tactic for scaping?
That's a hard one. Practice.
There's probably 10. Yeah, there you go. I like
Practice
that.
and research. That's the biggest thing, because
Practice.
I've heard from a lot of people, it's like I never have success, or like I can't grow plants, the plants will die on me. But the biggest thing is just learning how to grow the plants and seeing what they need and how to keep your water and how to fertilize them. And it's like literally a topic you could discuss for 2 hours. And as far as that, but do your research. There's a lot out there. And so I mentioned George Farmer earlier, and he has an amazing book for beginners that you can buy. And it's geared towards beginners, and really teaches you how to go through those steps.
Because you can probably have the nicest hardscape, but if you can't grow plants or you don't know how to place them
Right,
properly
right.
on it, it doesn't work.
You'd have a great cichlid tank after that.
Yeah.
Still be pretty, if your hardscape's done right. So.
Right.
Evan Randall's asking, what's your favorite plant?
Oh, favorite plant. That's hard. I'm really big on Anubiuses and Bucephalandras. I do like good red plants.
Are those here?
No, I don't have any of the Bucephalandra. I do like this one. This is Hygrophila pinnatifida. I love that one a lot too. But I have a lot. It's hard to just pick one. There's so many great plants to use.
Cole always drops the good ones. He says, "Where do I glue the fish down?"
He's like, that's the part I'm confused about. He's always got jokes for us. He does. He keeps us quite entertained.
Yeah.
Glue the fish
Thank
down.
you, Cole. We're giggling over here.
So I'm pretty happy with that. I think I'm gonna glue it and then we'll start planting it. I'll add a little more soil into the back. And then we're gonna put a sand foreground so it'll have it a little more open in the front.
So putting the sand in the front is for what? Just to give different color contrast or just types of substrate?
Yeah, it gives you a little, it just adds textures and layers to the tank.
Okay.
Because one thing you learn when you're escaping is layers. The more layers you can add, the more interest it builds and the more depth you'll get out of it. So, yeah, I think we're good there. Let me put a little glue.
So you glue the wood and rock together?
I do. I like to, especially in this case, what I like to do, since this wood is so dry and so new, it's going to float. So when you feel this, if you don't glue it down, then it will float. So I like to glue it to the rock, and the rock will hold it down.
And regular super glue gel is good for that?
Yeah, super glue gel and liquid super glue. I like to use liquid super glue and a piece of paper towel in between
Okay.
because it creates a chemical reaction. It's almost an instant bond, and it's a very secure bond, but it allows it to where if you want to break the tank down later and reuse your hardscape,
Whoa.
you can.
Glue and paper towel, huh?
Yep.
All right, learned something new today.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
It's those little tricks that other scapers have passed along to each other over the years.
That is very cool.
So I've really been blessed in learning. I've got to work with a lot of professional scapers the past couple of years, and I've learned a lot from them. I can't thank them enough.
So definitely for people that really want to get into scaping or learn a lot, like get with your local groups, go to shows, like where all you can have the chance to meet and talk with the people that have been doing it for longer.
Yeah, it's getting more popular in the United States. This form of building tanks has not been as popular in the U.S. until the past few years. There's been people here that do it, but it's not been as popular.
Yeah, it's growing pretty fast.
Yeah, as people started seeing it, and it's a shame because there's a great group people can join that's based here in the U.S. and they were actually the first ones to do an aquascaping competition, and that's the Aquatic Gardeners Association, and they send out like every quarterly they send out a little magazine that has all kinds of information, and they do giveaways and this and that. But a lot of interviews with some of the professional scapers and talk to them.
Where's your beginning? Like where does your beginning into this start and kind of how has it transformed?
It's actually kind of a funny story. We got my youngest daughter, not this one over here, but she decided she wanted a fish tank, so we got her a fish tank. And I decided that I wanted to learn more about how to make it healthier and more natural, and so I kind of went down the rabbit hole on YouTube, like a lot of us do these days, you know. And I found George Farmer on there, and I also found Green Aqua, and there's a lot of other scapers too. And started watching them and absorbing everything I could. And especially you get like into Green Aqua, they do some super extravagant stuff. They're based out of Hungary, but you're sitting there like there's no way I could ever do that. It's just mind-blowing. They get into breaking down all the parameters and stuff, and the water temperatures and plant names and all this, and then you do it and you keep doing it over the next few years, and you start picking it up. And the only thing that's been really hard is learning plant names because it's all in Latin. And again, it's like I was told, it's like if you say it with confidence, then nobody questions you.
That's a great point because I struggle with the plant names.
Yeah, it's all scientific.
Like
Latin
tongue
names.
twisters, man, and like just small differences in different in plants make different names and stuff. But
Yeah, there are some out there that have common names, but for the most part, especially you start getting into some of the more rare plants and stuff, and I don't even know the common names of a lot of them. People ask me about some of them, and it's like, I have no idea what that is.
tell me the technical name.
Right. Tell me the long name nobody can pronounce.
And you were actually a owner spotlight last year
Right.
with us.
For Blue Friday. Blue Friday.
Yeah.
Yep, showcasing you have some very beautiful clear minis.
Yeah, when I got to using water boxes, I was looking for an American company that I could get tanks from that were, you know, the nice rimless tanks and everything, and crystal clear, because Europe and Japan have some great ones too, but they're so expensive and it takes so long to get. And like, you know, and I like a lot of their stuff too, but I don't use their tanks really because of just the crazy expense for the import taxes coming from Japan and stuff. And why should I when I have a water box right here that's, you know, right in my backyard pretty much now, so. But yeah, I started with y'all, and I don't even know how many tanks I have now, several. I don't only have 2 set up at the moment. It got to where it was just too hard to keep up with everything.
As an aquascaper, I'm sure your tanks evolve and change, and you change up the layout and do something different with them.
Oh yeah, I can set up a tank and sit there and look at it for 2 days and say I hate it, and I can tear it back down and redo it.
It's just practice.
Right, that's exactly right. But then you have, you know, you presented with your different challenges and stuff as far as trying to grow certain plants. That's always fun too. So when you first start, you try to look for the easy plants. And that's what I love about Tropica's line. They actually have theirs set up. This is labeled as a medium plant, which it does better with CO2, but that one doesn't require CO2 necessarily. And then you have this like the hair grass, which is labeled as an easy plant. So with them, it's easy to know what you can do. If any of the easy plants, anybody can grow for the most part easily. So
Medium is, you know, CO2 is good but not required. And
yeah,
then
it'll grow
hard
okay
plants, of
in
course,
lower,
CO2, high
right.
tech.
It'll grow okay in lower lights and without CO2, but it'll show its full potential. And I get asked the question a lot is, do my plants need CO2? And the answer to that is yes, all plants need CO2. It's just how much they need.
True. Very good point.
Yeah. The biggest thing with that is you can do pretty good with most plants as long as you have good surface disruption. You don't have to have waves on top of the tank. You can do as simple as easy as using a surface skimmer. As long as the water's moving, you're having that gas exchange. And then lighting factors in too. The biggest thing with the high-tech tanks with CO2 and stuff is you're going to go through a lot of fertilization, and you're going to go through a lot of CO2 and a lot of maintenance because they grow so fast. Especially you get into some of your faster growing stem plants that you'll be trimming them weekly,
Oh man.
or you'll have a jungle in your tank.
So maintaining the look is, you know, upkeep as well with a freshwater planted aquarium.
Yeah, like you
Keep
see
them at
it-
the heights you need and the density and stuff to keep
Right.
that look.
It's like if you see those of us that run high-end tanks with high lighting and CO2, because both of mine right now that I have set up do, it's a lot of work.
Yeah.
It's a lot of work.
It's like a reef tank, man. You
Yeah.
get, some freshwater tanks can be just as complex
Yeah.
as a reef tank.
I've not stepped into the saltwater world yet, but I'm wanting to badly. I want to do the macroalgae is what I would like to get into first. A lot of friends are doing that now. You can almost make them look like a freshwater planted tank. with
Yeah, macroalgae and saltwater are very cool. There's a really big variety. It's becoming more and more available too.
This is the one thing people ask a lot with where I glue it with the paper towel and the glue. You can actually take a little glue and put on top of it after it's set. You take some of your soil and just kind of crush it up in your fingers and just cover that up.
Oh, it blends in.
Yeah. It doesn't stand out.
So does the paper towel not like dissolve into the water?
No, when it gets into the super glue, it creates a chemical reaction. Like if I was using like the liquid super glue here especially, it creates a lot of heat, so you don't want to get it stuck to your fingers. It hurts.
Okay.
But
It's kind of like dissolve the paper towel in a sense. And
it
like
changes it to almost like a plastic.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's just paper. It's very confusing.
Yeah, the The biggest negative thing to it is when you really use a lot in a tank. This way, you'll have to clean the glass because it does. I don't know if anybody. I guess some people are old enough to remember. What was it? The Beverly Hills Cop with Eddie Murphy back years ago, the first one. And they're trying to get a fingerprint off of a matchbook, and he uses a cotton ball and super glue and puts it in his buddy's turtle tank, and that's how he gets the fingerprint. So your fingerprints inside of the tank, it will show every single one of them if you do a lot of super glue use. But it's not that big of a deal. It scrapes right off with a nice scraper. No, I haven't glued that yet. That's like the wiggle test. You always want to give it. So if you can't shake it or move it,
just to
it'll
be
stay.
sure that when that water goes in there, it's not going to come rocketing out.
Yeah, a lot of us have been there, and it's not fun to sit here and see your tank float to the top.
We have one guy asking, can driftwood from a local river be used when aquascaping freshwater?
Most driftwoods can be used. That's you don't want to use like any softwoods or evergreens, especially that have like a pine sap because of the acidity in it. But if you most hardwoods and stuff, there's usually a list you can find online. I can't say yes for all of them. I don't know, but I know a lot can.
Sanitize appropriately before using.
I mean, you can. It's preferred to do that, but most of us, we just throw it in.
Okay.
Because like a tank like this I set up, we would let it run for 2 weeks, like doing water changes. Our water change regimens are crazy starting because we'll do 50% water changes daily for the first week.
Okay.
And then second week we'll do every other day. Third week, every third day. It's the easiest way to keep up with it. And then we do 50% once a month.
And what is the purpose of that water change schedule?
The biggest thing is in the beginning, one thing, the soil will leach so many nutrients into the water, and the plants are fresh and they're not growing yet, so you want to get rid of that extra nutrients. You're going to have algae issues.
Okay.
Because they're just not using it yet, and if you don't, you will have a beautiful green tank, green water. But that's actually called the ADA method. They came up with that. Mr. Takashi Amano years ago. He's the man that created this style of aquascaping. I love reading about him. There's a lot of books he wrote, and as simple as the CO2 injection, because it wasn't a thing, and how when he was trying to get plants to grow in a tank the way he wanted to, he couldn't get them to grow, so he actually started buying soda water, and he was pouring soda water in the tank every day.
Wow.
And found out that, hey, this is working. So he said he remembers the apartment just has soda bottles, empty soda bottles laying all over the place because he's pouring soda water in his tank every day to get the CO2 into the water. So that's pretty good.
I wonder how many people are going to try that now.
Yeah.
The problem is with that is you just have to be careful because you don't know how much you're putting in the tank.
Yeah.
And you also lose a lot because that's why he went and developed a way to use micro diffusers and everything like that to where it can stay in the water column better.
So do not try at home.
Yeah, don't try.
That was
it
a
home.
beginner method that led to the current methods.
It's pretty readily available and cheap these days just to get a CO2 set up and start.
Yeah.
All right, so I think
All right,
we're
so
pretty
escape,
good.
you're good with, you're happy with the rock and the wood, and now you're gonna add more
Yeah, I think I'm
substrate.
pretty good with that. Yeah, I think I'm about to add a little more soil on in each rear corner.
Bring up the height, cover
Yeah,
the
just to build a
ends.
little height, and then we'll start putting some plants in.
All right.
Your hands tired? Excuse me. This bag of
So
soil.
remember, guys, so this stream is going to go for a little bit longer. I'm watching James, but at 2, I'm going to continue back and have a live streaming of him like doing his plants and finishing a lot of this up. So you want to stay tuned just because you can't do a whole scape in 35, 40 minutes. So giving you that extra stream next to continue watching as well.
I wish I could. I could probably start a business selling a lot of those.
Right?
Be a
Full
lot
scape in
less-
an hour. That would be
a lot
intense.
less overhead for sure.
So what we'll do is once you finish adding the soil and the sand, before you start any planting, because the next stream won't have audio, is to kind of talk about the like do's and don'ts and things to look out for, like how to place your plants and stuff.
Okay. Yeah, and these kind of tanks too, I do like to start planting in the front with the smaller plants, because as you plant, it displaces soil and it'll start rolling towards the front. So if you plant from the front back, it's usually a little easier. Everybody has their own way of doing it, of course, and as you do it more, you'll learn what works best for you.
Do you find that the soil does slide much when you have it that ramped up in the back, or once it kind of just settles, it's good?
It will shift some usually, but it doesn't too bad. And that's one thing about placement of stuff. You want it to kind of place it to where it holds back, and if you're too worried about it, you could actually take like some filter wool and you could tuck in all the cracks and stuff here
so it
to
doesn't
hold
leak
it back
out
more, and keep it from rolling, especially if you're going to do sand, to keep it from falling down in the front. But after the plants start growing, it usually doesn't move much because all the roots travel through it. So yeah, they get crazy long too. So and these are Tropica's tissue culture plants. They don't look like much, but there's so many plants in this one little cup. They're actually a better value for the money than the potted plants. And these are produced the way they're grown in a lab, in water, and you don't have to go through a conversion process with your plants. So plants like the potted ones are grown in hydroponics in a greenhouse, so they're grown in air. And then when you put them underwater, they melt back, and then they'll regrow and convert to their underwater growth. So a lot of those look completely different after they've been underwater.
So these are going to have less of an adjustment period.
Right.
Then, okay.
Right, especially with the any kind of crypts, because if they're grown immersed or out of water, their leaves are very, very different, and you'll usually end up losing most of those. But they will grow back. So a lot of people get discouraged by that, but they do grow back. So I know some scapers I've seen, they'll take the crypts and they'll totally just cut them off, the leaves, and then plant them. And it takes longer for them to look good, but they will grow back.
Okay.
And they grow back in their immersed form. So
what plant is it that you're planting now?
this is basically dwarf hair grass. It's Elacaris acularis.
Some big words again. Dwarf hair grass, very nice. It's a good for middle ground.
Yeah, it does really good in the front, and it'll spread. It's a carpeting plant, so it'll eventually grow together and just spread out all across the lower area. And you can use it, I mean, anywhere in the tank if you have, because I have used it in tanks like here we have the open area. I can plant it back here and plant some larger leaf grass in the front, and you'll give that depth as you're traveling away. Yeah. So this is a very fine grass. I actually planted a tank at Aquascaping in Dallas last year with this, and I used so many pots of it. It was mostly just grass. And it took me so long to do. But
Put
it
one
looked really good.
batching at a time.
Yeah, especially after flight delays and everything else. I got there and I was so tired, and I stayed up very late. But most of us do. When we do those shows, it's fun. We're hanging out with all of our friends and stuff too, so it's nice.
The shows are always a party, that's for sure.
Yes, absolutely. And so I've made a lot of friends in the hobbies just going to the shows and stuff over the years, and unfortunately, just geographically, that's the only time we really get to see each other.
Yeah. So definitely, if you have the option of a show to get to one, to go to one, it's always going to be worthwhile. Especially if
they're
you're
totally worth it.
wanting inspiration, learn. You know, there's a lot to gain from going.
Yeah, and it's always nice to have those guys, especially some of the pros you work with. It's like you make friends with them. It's like you're having problems with a tank or something. It's like, hey, you know, will you take a look at this and see what I'm doing wrong or whatever?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And because I reach out every time I do a competition tank, I reach out to several of them to ask their opinion before I'll submit it, because they see things I don't really see, because you kind of get that tunnel vision when you're doing stuff to that extent for that amount of time.
So I'm just gonna say this, we got about 5 minutes left on the stream. If you can kind of go over the plants that you plan on using.
Okay.
So that on the next stream, when it's just, you know, basically the camera's just rolling while you actually do it.
Yeah, no
we can
problem.
actually point back to what you're adding.
So we're going to use quite a bit of Anubias in here. We have some Rotala. This one is one of these that will convert. It's got round leaves now, but it'll get more like a needle leaf as it grows in. We have those. We're going to plant these in the background. We have some swords here that we'll plant in the back. They're nice tall background plants. This one is Hygrophilus siamensis 53B. We're going to plant, it's a background plant as well. It's tall. There's quite a bit of that. This is more Hygrophila. Anubias, what's amazing about it is it's a epiphyte plant, so we can plant on wood, rock, whatever. And then we're going to use some of the Hygrophila pinata I said, and it can be grown in the soil or as an epiphyte. And I like to use it as an epiphyte the most, so we'll use it on wood. But we have several different types of grasses. We have Juncus repens, and then we have some more Rotala green. We have the Rotala atro, which is, that's the Macondra there, but it turns a nice brilliant red under good light. And the atra, wherever it is. Did you do any of the atra? We have it too. But we're going to use, this is Lily Opsis brasiliensis. We're going to use quite a bit of the grasses in there. And then we also have, that's the Rotala too. Yeah, Marcellea here, which is a nice, easy foreground plant. And we'll mix it in with the grasses where we get the texture. I like to mix different plants in the same places where it's just not all uniform, because in nature it's going to grow all intertwined. So, but yeah, then we got some Sterigani repens. It'll grow tall, but if you keep it trimmed, it'll learn to kind of train itself down, and it won't grow as tall as fast. So it'll stay. It's nice little, it's like a little bush. It'll grow there. You have a nice little like bush. But then this one we have will also be a background plant. Is Alternathera renickii.
Some nice red.
Yeah, and it'll turn a nice brilliant red, especially with lighting and stuff like that. So some gorgeous plants.
So I think as you skip it, and then in the next stream we might just add that information in the description.
Okay.
Just so we can point back to the plants that you actually use.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Oh, and then I forgot the Bacopa here. This one, I love this one just because it smells like an herb. Wonderful smell to it. It's kind of like a lemongrass smell, sort of.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah. But yeah, it's another background stem plant, fast growing but easy to grow. So.
Awesome.
Yeah,
All right.
that's what we're going to be using. So.
Want to head back to the studio?
Yep.
and then
So you
we'll
keep doing your thing.
Okay.
We said we are going to come back to James at the 2 o'clock hour, have a camera on him while he is continuing the planting and finishing up this gorgeous tank. I can't wait to see what it does.
I know, it's already looking really amazing.
I really like the
see-
big chunks of wood. Like it, I'm
Yeah.
gonna really like the natural, like you said, look to it.
Yeah, I can already see the people in the comments are really liking the scape so far.
So yeah, and I was actually talking, so 2 o'clock hour is gonna be streaming him while he does that. Also, because it's probably not gonna be filled or anything by the end of that, is that we're gonna get it filled up, and then on the finale, take a quick look at it on the final stream, how
Yeah.
it looks filled up with the plants all in place. So we'll just
Keep revisiting it.
keep revisiting it throughout the day, so you can see the finished product before the day is over. So stay tuned for all of that. We're gonna have some winners to pull for our gift cards.
In a moment. If you guys, I just want to remind you guys, head over to waterboxaquariums.com to get the full details on the sale. We're running a sale from
Yep.
July 14th to 24th on all freshwater aquariums and supplies. So definitely don't miss out on that opportunity because it doesn't happen very often.
Okay. All right. So we got 2 gift card winners. To
We do, but I need 30 seconds.
Oh, okay. We don't have them yet.
I just sat back.
So hopefully everyone's going to be able to, has enjoyed learning, some of the stuff
Keenan,
too.
did you cut his audio? Just
Yeah, I did. I muted.
okay.
Okay.
Cool.
Watching him do the hardscape, tune in next hour to see the plants go in. That's a lot of plants out there.
That is a lot
I can
of
see how you
plants.
could probably spend a whole day placing
Yeah.
plants. So it's a whole bunch of plants, but that natural look, I think, is going to look really, really neat
Yeah.
in there.
I'm having a lot of fun so far.
Right?
I'm a saltwater guy, if you guys don't know that, and I'm really trying to dig into the freshwater, so I'm really thoroughly enjoying this. If you are too, put it in the comments.
Yeah, hopefully you're liking what we're doing. We have a lot more still to go for
We
today
do.
too. So, all right, but we got some winners. Let me wrap this one up. All right,
Ready?
you ready?
Drum roll.
First winner is
Paul Soltero. Congratulations, Paul. Got that $500 gift card. Go pick out something pretty amazing.
yes, probably something on sale.
Yeah.
Hey.
You got 10 days.
Yep. All right, so we have one more gift card to give away. You ready? Second winner is.
Katarina Sadi. Congratulations.
Thank you guys. It pays to watch.
Sure does.
Throughout the stream with those bonus words. So for the 2 p.m. stream, we will not have a bonus word or giveaways because it's kind of like our intermission. We're just extending the scaping over into that.
Yeah.
We're gonna go recharge and have a little break, probably have some lunch.
Yes.
And then be back at 3 o'clock with an actual stream. But definitely tune in to the 2 o'clock because it'll be all about
Yeah, you can watch him continue
aquascaping.
with that wonderful scape.
And
he's
the
got
chat will
going
be
on.
open, so you guys can chit chat, talk, whatever, and just enjoy a little bit of a relaxing view.
Cool.
All right,
See ya.
see you at 3.
Make sure to smash the like button, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell.
Don't go anywhere. Make sure to join us on the next Fresh Friday stream for more guests and giveaways.
And don't forget, Fresh Friday is the best day to save big on your new Waterbox aquarium.
For more about Fresh Friday, visit waterboxaquariums.com.